6:40 here on a Wednesday morning, and now it is time to join once again with Metro Sheriff Joe Lombardo for our Morning Cup of Joe segment. Sheriff, good to see you once again.
Good morning, John. Good to see you.
Well, let's get into things here, sir. There's been, unfortunately, across the country, a surge in attacks on the Asian American community. This is somewhat connected to the coronavirus. How is Metro working with the large Asian population we have here in the Valley to protect them and make sure everybody is secure?
Yeah, unfortunately, that is occurring. But fortunately, we have not seen that here in Clark County as of yet. But to answer your question, we have a very robust relationship with the Asian community, in particular the Asian Chamber of Commerce and the Asian American Group and all the other affiliated social groups and political groups that across the county, or in particular to the Chinatown area. We spent not a significant, I wouldn't use the word significant, but we spent a great deal of our time on South Central Area Command, Spring Valley Area Command, addressing the Asian community. So I think our relationship with them is probably as robust as any other demographic, but we have not seen that. But we've made them aware of it. The important piece is to make them aware of it, aware of their surroundings, and ensure they don't become victimized from folks trying to cause harm.
Absolutely, something we certainly don't want to see here in the Valley get going. Now, also, Metro Sheriff Lombardo, we cover barricade situations frequently here in the Valley. In fact, I think we counted about one a day for the last 3 weeks, something along those lines. So a question we have is, how does Metro determine when such a big response on these barricade situations is needed when someone is holed up somewhere?
Yeah, there has been, I don't know what the issue is recently. There has been a frequency of those type of events occurring here in the beginning of the year. We average right around 75, 80 of those in totality year over year. And what occurs, John, is it's an unknown. Our patrol officer is called, usually reference a domestic violence situation. That's usually the majority of those type of calls because of the emotions involved, and people may be armed or some other device that would cause harm to the local residents. And through those emotional episodes, they decide for unknown reasons that they're going to barricade in their house and they're going to force the cops to make a decision for them. And so what happens in those is a patrol officer shows up, the situation may unfold before them, or we may have some knowledge before we arrive, and then the primary suspect says, hey, I'm not coming out, come in and get me, or I'm going to wait you out and decide what I'm going to do with my own personal life, either commit suicide or just give up. So that requires a lot of resources to evacuate the surrounding apartments. If you noticed recently, there was one where the guy set his own apartment on fire, which in turn has an effect on all the surrounding residences that we have to deal with. Ensure that we know who's inside those residences, we get them evacuated, and we provide them safety. And if they're armed with a firearm, they could discharge a round right through the walls. To have an effect on unsuspecting people. So it's very resource intensive, but the whole key is life safety, scene stabilization, and the preservation of property. We go through that hierarchy when we make decisions, and SWAT is our best tactical unit to contain those folks, and along with SWAT is negotiators. So they try to talk them out, and it could take 8 hours or it could take 2 hours, and that's why it seems overwhelming.
But just on that point, though, when you're talking about a situation where it's a tense situation, emotions are charged up, does the presence of SWAT and all the officers, not that it's not necessary, but does that dial up the temperature when maybe the real resolution might be to try and dial it down?
Yeah, and you know what? You're exactly right, but in the cases of these, if you recall in my description, we don't have all those individuals there in the early throes of it. It's escalated to a point where SWAT is necessary in order to de-escalate the situation. And more often than not, that overwhelming show of force changes the mindset of the individual, and that individual says, hey, I can't survive this, or I'm not accomplishing what I want to accomplish, and it is a benefit for us, the community, and themselves, in de-escalating that situation. So it's really a opposite of what you are thinking, and I would agree with your thought process, but in these situations, it's not.
Let's switch gears and talk about school. K through third graders in CCSD go back on Monday. Some of them do anyway. How's Metro getting ready for the return to kids on campus?
Yeah, that's great news. I wish it was just a little more robust than that. Well, we have a school program that we do every year. This is in conjunction with the Clark County School Police. For those in the Las Vegas community that don't understand, the school district has their own police department, and what we are is a force multiplier for them. We come in and assist whenever necessary to address that environment. But where we mostly get involved is in the ingress and egress of the kids at the beginning of the day and the end of the day. We provide some safety for the people coming to pick up the kids, ensuring that they're not getting caught up in traffic or causing harm in the local businesses when they decide to leave school and overwhelm the stores. All those kind of things that you could imagine through mischief that kids would attempt to do. But our role is mostly before and after, and then the school police provide that protection during the school day.
All right, well, let's finally, very quickly, Sheriff, talk about the transition Las Vegas is going through, trying to get beyond COVID, post-pandemic, on the resort corridor. How might Metro adjust law enforcement on the Las Vegas Strip at the resorts as we move forward and as more people start coming back to Las Vegas?
Yeah, that's something that we're fully aware of. And, you know, we're so used to dealing with the insurgence of crowds with our special events and everything else that goes along with the community of Las Vegas. But in this situation, we did have some adjustment of resources in the Strip corridor and to include Fremont Street. So as the tourism diminished, we pushed a lot of those officers out into the surrounding neighborhoods to deal with, you know, daily crime. And then as the tourism returns, and to include convention spaces, all those staffed individuals that we have in Convention Center Area Command and Downtown Area Command will just be brought back into the fold. And it's very fluid. It's very easy for us to make adjustments in that aspect. And actually, I'm looking forward to it. And I mean, it's, as you could imagine anybody else, it's very hard for us to adjust, just like it is for a person looking for a job in that environment, to move resources quickly and efficiently on, you know, short notice. But we're aware of it. We're fully ready to adjust, as well I'm sure you guys are, and we're looking forward to it.
I think we're all ready for some normal. Sheriff Lombardo, thank you very much for joining us this morning. If you at home have a question for the sheriff, you can submit it, of course, 8newsnow.com. Find that if it's answered every Wednesday. 6:40.